So he had this one shift after meditating for so long and doing all the austerities. He woke.
Yeah, he embraced everything. He accepted everything, including Mara, the demon, sent him his 3 daughters, and he said, "Come, I'll be married."
So then, whatever life offers us, we allow it to be there. And
yeah, things don't seem to go our way. Give up your idea of how they should be, trusting you don't know the big picture, but the big picture is all infinitely correlated.
Okay, so my first question is, who is Mara?
So Mara represents the aspect of our mind that creates the suffering, basically. And Mara can be seen as what it is that we fear, what it is that tempts us, what it is that we push away, what it is, parts of ourselves that we don't want to see. And he's actually a very important character in the book, because it was only after Buddha really faced Mara and was willing to take on whatever Mara brought to him was that he achieved enlightenment.
So it's kind of like the Jungian concept of the shadow?
Exactly. It's like the shadow is looking at those parts of ourselves that we don't want to see. And in the story, what happens is Buddha, in his meditations, he reaches this really great space. He's in the heavens, and he's communing with the angels, and everything's blissful. And he realizes that, well, all I'm getting here is some pleasure that maybe is going to come after I die. But, where's the real freedom going to come? So he decides to intentionally go into what we call hell and face his worst fears until anything that happened to him had no effect on him whatsoever. And so that was Mara.
So then, who are his 3 daughters?
Well, the big part of the Buddha story is at the moment of enlightenment, before his final, it was like the final temptation. In the final temptation, let's really see if we can get Buddha off of this place of being in touch with his natural being. And so the daughters are lust and aversion and desire. And for example, one of them, the daughter of lust, Buddha says, okay, yeah, I'm a man, and bring her on. And he, just faces her, right, and says, okay, come on in. Instead of pushing it away and saying, oh, I shouldn't have these thoughts, or I shouldn't be this way, just take it in. And he allows that to be part of himself and accepts it as part of his being, so that it didn't have power over him anymore. And this is the part where we, in our life, where we're trying to make things different than they are. And this is where, when Deepak's talk about, he embraced everything. He just allowed everything to be that it is. And this is where I think one point where you had
when we're editing, I was having a problem at home where somebody I really care about wanted to do something one way, and then I wanted to do something another way, and we had a big fight about it, and it was, very disturbing for me. And then we saw this one part where he says, if you can't change something, you're just going to have to accept it for what it is, and realize that, it's part of, a bigger way of things are going. I mean, you have to look at the big picture. And so I kind of took that in heart and kind of just accepted that, what was happening in my life, I wasn't going to be able to change. And so if I accept it, the better I'm going to feel. And it's funny because at the same time, the person I was having a problem with was sort of accepting the situation too. And so we called each other and had a discussion and a reconciliation. And so it was good.
Yeah, that was really such an amazing experience. When that happened, it was like John says, that's just what I needed to hear. And I didn't know what was happening. And then all of a sudden he gets a phone call, and I didn't know what was on the phone call. But it was so amazing. It was like he said, just what I needed to hear. And then all of a sudden things resolved themselves. And that's when I started to say, okay, there's something more going on with this editing of the film and things not going the way exactly the way that we thought the film was going to go. That there's all these other things that are happening, and we can just embrace that too and just go with everything that's happening.
Yeah.
So it was really quite amazing. So what happens in the next part of the interview is Deepak tells us what Buddha's suggestion is on how we can achieve our own enlightenment. He doubted the place where he was at after he met Sajita, and the tears flowed because he had the memories of her, and thought, I haven't done it yet. And then what was the transformation that finally he went to, and then before he met Mara?